Most people believe the reason they're not rich is simple. They think they don't earn enough. They think the wealthy just started earlier, or had better opportunities, or were simply lucky. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people will never be rich. Not because they lack intelligence, not because they lack opportunities, but because their mind quietly works against them every single day. And the strange part? They don't even realize it. Think about this. If money was only about working hard, then construction workers would be millionaires. If money was only about education, then every college graduate would be wealthy. But reality tells a different story. Some people work incredibly hard their entire lives and still struggle financially. Meanwhile, others seem to create wealth almost effortlessly. So what's the difference? It's not talent, it's not connections, and it's definitely not luck. The real difference lies in a hidden psychological pattern that controls how people think about money. A pattern so subtle that most people never notice it. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's a question most people never ask themselves. Why do some people, the moment they earn more money, immediately find new ways to spend it? A raise comes in, a new phone appears, a bonus arrives, suddenly there's a vacation, a new car payment, or a bigger apartment. The income increases, but strangely, the financial stress stays the same. It's almost as if something is pulling them back to the same level, like an invisible ceiling they can't break. And this isn't random. Psychologists actually have a name for it. They call it the financial thermostat. Just like a thermostat in your house controls the temperature, your mind controls the amount of wealth you feel comfortable having. If you earn more than that level, your habits quietly push you back down. If you earn less, your instincts push you to earn more again. And most people set this thermostat in childhood without even realizing it. They inherit beliefs like money is hard to make, rich people are greedy, life is about surviving, not thriving. These ideas sound harmless, but over time, they quietly shape every financial decision you make, the job you choose, the risks you avoid, the opportunities you ignore. And the most dangerous part? These beliefs feel completely normal, so people never question them. Instead, they blame the economy, they blame their job, they blame bad luck. But what if the real reason most people never become rich is not outside their control? What if the real barrier is something much closer, something sitting quietly in their own mind? Because the truth is, wealth isn't just built with money, it's built with psychology. And most people are unknowingly trapped in mental patterns designed to keep them financially average. But that's only the beginning, because there are 3 specific psychological traps that keep millions of people stuck in the same financial cycle for decades. Traps so common that almost everyone falls into them. And the first one? It starts with a simple habit that most people repeat every single day without thinking. And once you see it, you'll realize why escaping it is so difficult.
Most people believe financial struggles come from big mistakes, bad investments, huge debts, risky decisions. But in reality, financial struggles are rarely caused by one big mistake. They're caused by thousands of tiny psychological habits repeated every single day. And the first trap is surprisingly simple: the comfort trap. Humans are wired to seek comfort. Comfort feels safe. Comfort feels predictable. But comfort is also where growth quietly dies. Think about the average career path. Someone gets a stable job. They earn a predictable salary. They slowly build a lifestyle around that income. At first, it feels like progress. But something strange begins to happen. The lifestyle expands faster than the income. A better apartment, a car payment, subscriptions, small luxuries. None of these feel dangerous, but together they create financial gravity. Suddenly, leaving that job becomes terrifying. Taking a risk becomes impossible. And the person isn't trapped by their job, they're trapped by the comfort their job created. Now, here's the twist. The wealthy often do the opposite. They intentionally stay uncomfortable longer. They delay upgrading their lifestyle. They tolerate uncertainty because they understand something most people ignore. Comfort today often creates limitation tomorrow. But the comfort trap is only the beginning. The second trap is even more powerful, and it's something nearly everyone experiences: the social comparison trap. Humans constantly compare themselves to others, not to billionaires, not to the ultra-rich, but to the people around them, friends, co-workers, neighbors. And this comparison quietly controls spending behavior. If everyone around you upgrades their phone, you start feeling like yours is outdated. If coworkers drive newer cars, your perfectly working car suddenly feels embarrassing. And here's the disturbing truth: most purchases people make today are not driven by need, they're driven by social signaling, a silent message that says, "Look, I'm doing well too." But this creates a dangerous cycle. People spend money to look successful instead of building the wealth that actually creates success. It's financial theater. And social media made this trap even worse, because now people aren't just comparing themselves to neighbors, they're comparing themselves to millions of carefully curated lives, vacations, luxury apartments, designer clothes. But what most people don't realize is that many of those lifestyles are funded by one thing: debt. So people end up competing in a game where everyone is pretending to win. And the price of the game? Long-term financial freedom. But the third psychological trap might be the most dangerous of all, because it feels completely logical: the linear thinking trap. Most people believe wealth is created in a straight line: work harder, earn more, save a little, repeat for 40 years. But here's the problem: wealth rarely grows in a straight line. It grows exponentially, meaning the biggest financial breakthroughs usually come from investments, ownership, leverage, and compounding. But these ideas require a completely different mindset. They require patience, they require delayed gratification, and most importantly, they require thinking beyond the next paycheck. Yet the system most people live in is built around linear income, time traded for money, which makes it incredibly difficult to see the bigger game. And this leads to a realization that is both simple and unsettling. Many people are not poor because they lack opportunities. They are poor because their thinking is perfectly designed for survival, not wealth. But here's where the story gets even more interesting, because these psychological traps didn't appear randomly. In fact, many of them are quietly reinforced by something much bigger, something that influences your decisions every single day without you noticing. A system designed to keep you spending, consuming, and chasing the next upgrade. And once you understand how this system works, you'll start seeing money, success, and society very differently.
By now, you might be thinking something uncomfortable. If these psychological traps are so powerful, why does almost everyone fall into them? Why aren't we taught how money really works? Why do so many intelligent, hardworking people stay financially stuck for decades? The answer lies in something few people ever question. The system around you was never designed to make you rich. It was designed to make you consume. Look at the modern economy. Everywhere you turn, someone is trying to sell you something. Your phone, your laptop, your television, even the ads hidden inside the apps you use every day. Companies spend billions of dollars studying one thing: human psychology. Not to help you build wealth, but to make sure you keep spending. And they're incredibly good at it. Think about this. Have you ever opened a shopping app just to look and somehow ended up buying something? Or walked into a store planning to buy one item and walked out with 5? That's not a lack of discipline. That's behavioral engineering. Stores are designed to slow you down. Prices are designed to feel smaller. Only $9.99 instead of $10. Limited time offers, flash sales, countdown timers. These aren't random marketing tricks. They're psychological triggers. They create urgency. They bypass rational thinking, and they push people to act emotionally. But here's where it gets even more subtle. Because the system doesn't just influence how you spend money, it influences how you think about success itself. From a young age, people are taught a simple formula: study hard, get a job, buy a house, upgrade your lifestyle. And on the surface, that sounds reasonable. But hidden inside this formula is a powerful assumption that success is defined by what you own: the bigger house, the nicer car, the newer gadgets. And slowly, people begin chasing a lifestyle instead of building wealth. But those two things are not the same. In fact, they often move in opposite directions. A person can look incredibly successful while secretly being buried in debt. Another person can look average while quietly building millions through investments. Yet society celebrates the first person because visible success is easier to recognize. And this creates one of the most powerful illusions in modern life, the illusion of wealth. You see someone wearing luxury brands, driving an expensive car, living in a beautiful apartment, and your brain instantly assumes one thing: they must be rich. But often what you're seeing is not wealth, it's consumption. True wealth is much quieter. It's assets, investments, ownership, cash flow, things that rarely appear on social media. And this leads to a strange paradox. The people who look rich are often the ones spending their money, while the people quietly building wealth are often the ones not showing it. But there's another layer to this hidden system, something even deeper. Most people don't just work for money. They structure their entire lives around monthly payments. Car payments, mortgage payments, subscription payments, credit card payments. And once these obligations pile up, freedom becomes incredibly expensive. Suddenly, quitting a job is risky. Starting a business feels impossible. Taking time to think about long-term wealth becomes a luxury. So people stay in the cycle, working, spending, upgrading, repeating, and the system keeps moving. But here's the fascinating part. A small group of people eventually realize something most never notice. The game of money is not about earning more. It's about thinking differently about money itself. And once that mental shift happens, everything begins to change. The way you spend, the way you work, the way you see opportunities. Because the biggest difference between people who build wealth and those who stay stuck is not income. It's something much deeper, a completely different mental framework. And once you understand this shift, you start seeing the world through a completely different lens.
At some point, people who build real wealth begin to notice something strange. They realize the game everyone else is playing is the wrong game. Most people focus on earning money. The wealthy focus on building systems that produce money. That difference sounds small, but it changes everything. Because when you rely only on income, your wealth is limited by one thing: your time. There are only 24 hours in a day, which means no matter how hard you work, your income eventually hits a ceiling. But wealth builders play a different game. Instead of asking, "How can I earn more?" they ask a completely different question: "How can money work without me?" This is where the mindset shift begins. They start thinking in terms of ownership, assets, leverage, compounding. Instead of trading hours for dollars, they start building things that continue producing value long after the work is done. A business, investments, equity, digital assets, systems that grow quietly in the background. But the real transformation is not financial, it's psychological. Because wealthy thinkers begin to see money in a completely different way. Most people see money as something to spend. Wealth builders see money as something to plant. Imagine holding a seed. Most people eat the seed immediately. It feels good in the moment, but the seed disappears forever. A small number of people do something different. They plant the seed. At first, nothing happens. Weeks go by, months go by. It feels slow, almost boring. But over time, the seed becomes a tree, and eventually that tree produces hundreds of new seeds. This is the logic of compounding, and it's one of the most powerful forces in finance. But compounding requires something extremely rare in today's world: patience, the ability to delay gratification, the willingness to look average today in order to become extraordinary tomorrow. And that's why most people never reach it, because the modern world rewards the opposite behavior: instant upgrades, instant rewards, instant validation. But wealth is rarely instant. It grows quietly, slowly, almost invisibly at first. Another shift happens as well. Wealth builders stop asking, "What can I afford?" and start asking, "What will this decision cost me in the future?" That new car might cost $40,000 today, but invested over 20 years, that same money could become hundreds of thousands. Suddenly, every financial decision becomes a trade-off with the future, and this awareness changes behavior dramatically. They begin valuing freedom more than appearance, time more than status, options more than luxury, which leads to a surprising truth. Many wealthy individuals don't look wealthy at all. They drive normal cars, wear simple clothes, live below their means. Not because they can't afford more, but because they understand something most people miss. Wealth is what you don't see. It's the investments, the assets, the financial security, the freedom to choose how to spend your time. And once you truly understand this idea, your relationship with money changes forever. You stop chasing the image of success and start building the foundation of it. Because the truth is, becoming rich is rarely about one big breakthrough. It's about small decisions repeated for years. Decisions most people ignore. Decisions that feel boring, even invisible. But over time, those invisible choices quietly separate two very different futures. One where a person spends their entire life chasing money, and another where money eventually begins working for them. And the line between those two futures often starts with a single moment. The moment someone realizes that wealth isn't a mystery, it's simply a different way of thinking.